Hi, my name is Dr. Lisa Sheenan. I am a finance lecturer at Queen's University Belfast, and I'm delighted to recommend this playlist, How Can Green Investments Shape a Sustainable Future? Unveiling the Power of Nature and Biodiversity Finance. So this is a research area that is growing in popularity and importance. It's important, obviously, for society and for the planet as a whole. And as researchers, it's an exciting area to be looking into. So first of all, I just want to introduce this playlist. I'm going to give a very brief overview of what biodiversity is. So the term itself is a combination of the words biological and diversity. So biodiversity was a term that was coined in the mid-1980s. It's a very broad term and it tends to be misunderstood. Even biological scientists can differ when it comes to defining exactly what it is. Basically, it is the living fabric of our planet. So the Intergovernmental Science Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services in 2019 provided a formal definition as the variability among living organisms from all sources, including terrestrial, marine, and other aquatic ecosystems and the ecological complexes of which they are part. This includes diversity within species, between species, and of ecosystems. So basically, what we can think of it as is that the planet needs this in order to sustain life, in order to sustain us as human beings. Unfortunately, in the past century, we as humans have caused massive biodiversity loss through our actions. So think of overconsumption, overpopulation. Basically, our actions have led to this. So it's clear now it's coming to a point where something needs to be done to try and conserve biodiversity. And that's where biodiversity finance comes in. So basically, it's about raising and managing capital that does this, that conserves biodiversity. So at this point, I just want to highlight that while it's important to differentiate between biodiversity loss and climate change, it's vital to recognize the interaction between the two. So it's estimated that 23% of CO2 emissions are due to a loss of nature. So we are indeed further ahead in terms of managing climate change and trying to fight climate change, but even there we are still quite far behind. So we're going to need a coordinated approach in terms of trying to conserve biodiversity and trying to fight climate change, because we don't want to do something perhaps to conserve biodiversity that could have a negative effect in terms of climate change. So going forward, we should consider it as a net zero plus a nature positive transition. Now, from a risk perspective and from a finance perspective, businesses and financial institutions are very exposed. So a Banque de France estimate in one of their seminal papers on this topic, they estimate that 42% of the value of securities held by financial institutions in France comes from issuers that are highly or very highly dependent on one or more ecosystem services. So that's a massive number. And that's obviously just the start of research into this topic. And we should, hopefully learn a lot more. It's important that we understand the exposures of businesses and financial institutions to biodiversity related risks so we can mitigate against them and try and reduce them. And at the moment, that's where we really are with this. It's firefighting, it's risk mitigation. Regulations in this area are also increasing. For example, with the Task Force for Nature-Related Financial Disclosures. So they provide a framework that tries to enable companies and financial institutions to integrate nature into decision making. Again, it's really still about the risk fighting, the risk mitigation. But going forward and in the future, we should hopefully also find opportunities for financial institutions, try and build up a market for these types of projects that conserve biological diversity and attract investors to that market in order to mobilize finance towards that. So hopefully we will get some great insights in this playlist, and I look forward to hearing them as they come out. Thank you very much.